And speaking of blogosphere, this week, the 6th annual Blogging While Brown Conference gets underway here in New York City at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. And joining us in our daily take this morning is Blogging While Brown founder Gina McCauley on Skype live from Austin, Texas. Good morning to you, Gina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Blogging While Brown, it's interesting. Keli and I were actually talking about this morning, and she was talking about her interest in attending the conference and possibly even attending it while it's here in New York. First of all, tell me a little bit about the title, where that came from. I love the story behind Blogging While Brown.
Actually, there was a gathering of bloggers. Are you hearing the echo?
No, I hear you just fine, Gina.
Okay, well, there was a gathering of bloggers in New York City in maybe 2007 with President Bill Clinton at his offices in Harlem. And in that picture of progressive bloggers, there were no people of color of any kind. Everyone in the picture was white. Wow. And it was ironic because this gathering was taking place in Harlem. And so there was a blogger named Terrence of the Republic of Tea who wrote a post called Blogging While Brown. And that's where the name came from. But back when I started blogging in April of 2007, once you become a blogger, you start to meet other bloggers, and bloggers have a unique set of issues that are common between us, and many of them were complaining about some of the larger social media conferences and technology conferences and participation by bloggers of color as speakers, or even highlighting their existence at all, because 2007 was a lot different. There was a question about whether or not Black people actually use technology. Of course we did. We just didn't necessarily get acknowledged. And now no one would question that based on the participation of Black people in things like Twitter and Facebook and those types of things. So back then, my response was, instead of complaining about conferences where you don't feel welcomed or acknowledged, why don't you start your own conference? And like that, it was an impulsive decision, and here we are 6 years later, and we're going to be in New York City.
And Gina, at this conference, what are some of the things that the bloggers are learning, getting a chance to do that is so important and specific to the fact that they are minority bloggers?
Well, that's really interesting, because the content of our technical courses isn't any different. It's stellar. Our speakers are all-stars, highly educated subject matter experts in digital media technology and social media. And so the content of the technical sessions isn't any different than what you'd find at another conference. I say it's even better because the technical skills you need to blog are the same no matter what race you are. I think what you will find is when these bloggers walk into a room at our conference, they will walk into a room with people who look exactly like them. They won't be the only one in the room. They won't be the oddball out. Every speaker at the conference will look like them. And we certainly have panels that are about issues that are specific to the African American community. But the overall conference content is about the same struggles that every blogger has. It's just that the people who are the subject matter experts at the conference look like you, and it's a family-friendly environment. It's also an opportunity for us to get together with people who are already in our social networks. And so it's a family reunion and a continuing education opportunity and a networking opportunity. I would say some things that are unique to Black bloggers are the same challenges that every other type of media owner faces, which is access to capital and access to networks. And so one of the great things about the conference, it's a great way for these bloggers to network with brands and organizations who want to connect to them. But there's no such thing as Black social media from a technical standpoint. Twitter is Twitter no matter who is using it. It's just what we choose to do with it.
Gina, you know, I get asked this all the time because I'm a blogger, and I always kind of am careful because I think this answer might depend on who's doing the asking, but I would love to ask you, since you are the queen blogger, what do you say to people when they ask, should they maintain their own blog, or should they start blogging for another site? I get that question all the time, and I always worry that I give someone the wrong answer.
There's not a wrong answer.
Okay.
It depends on what works best for you. I have I've always run my own blog, but I also have freelanced for bigger sites. I think one of the benefits of freelancing for a bigger site is that you tend to get a larger audience. It's a way to grow your own brand. But I personally prefer not to have an editor. I don't tend to like to write on demand. But I don't think that it just depends on what works for you. A great thing that you need to always remember as a blogger is that the benefit of blogging is that you own your content and you own your own platform. And when you write for someone else, you don't own that content. That's not your platform. And I think every person, whether you're a blogger or an author or someone who's a reporter, should always have a home base of operations online.
Do you think that, I really feel like the Gina 6 story was sort of, from my vantage point, what sort of put Black bloggers on the map in terms of mainstream media, appreciating that we exist and we matter and we have a voice that should be listened to. Do you think that too? I mean, for those who don't know, I'm talking about the Gina 6 case in Louisiana, where a number of African-American teenagers were frankly treated with what most people consider a grave injustice in terms of sentencing.
I think what happened was that definitely the Gina 6 was kind of the emergence of online activism. Color of Change was at the center of that. That was kind of the first time that an organization that wasn't a traditional Black civil rights organization was spearheading that, and that definitely. But you also have to remember the Gina 6 also happened right before then Senator Barack Obama declared his presidency. Right. His candidacy for president of the United States. And I think the fact that a Black man was running for president probably had the biggest impact on the explosion of Black bloggers.
I know we're out of time, but I just wanted to say, because for those who don't know, Black bloggers actually staged a blog-in where a lot of people wrote about the Gina 6 case on the same day. And that's what really got the mainstream media, CNN, and everyone to pay attention. So,
and we appreciate having you, Gina McCauley, joining us from Texas. The name of the conference is Blogging While Brown. And shameless plug here, we're online as well. Go to Facebook and Twitter. You can follow us at Twitter at Our Take Arise TV. And remember to like and leave comments on our Facebook page, Our Take on Arise TV. And of course, you are watching Our Take on Arise TV.